Hey everyone, welcome to RevTrevNFL. My name is RevTrev, and I'm so glad that you're here because today we're going to be talking about a bit of a debate that's going on for the Green Bay Packers and their fans, and I would say a little bit with people from, maybe even other teams. And I kind of want to pipe into this. By the way, if you haven't hit the like and subscribe, please do. And I don't know if you noticed this, but I look like a tomato. I got burnt today. I was at my son's beach volleyball tournament. Did not put anything on. As you can see here, like we're talking real different here, right? So yes, I'm way more red than I normally am, but it is what it is, everyone. And what do you do with it? What do you do with it other than just embrace it? And so, yeah, a little more red than normal. But I hope that everyone's doing well, having a great summer. What a beautiful summer we're having. And, the season is right around the corner. It's going to be, you're going to blink and we're going to be diving into preseason. We're going to be diving into the season. There's going to be so much going on, and it's quite exciting. Right now, it's kind of a lull. It's kind of mini camps, OTAs, or kind of that boring moment. But it's about to happen. And today we want to talk about, do the Green Bay Packers have four number one wide receivers? Do we have four number one wide receivers? And you probably clicked on this because of this graphic here. And so we're going to dive into it. We're going to figure it out right now. But I want to give a big shout out to everyone that's here, whether you're watching live and you're in the chat room right now, or that you are here later. That is great. And post a comment in the comments, please. And I love connecting with everyone. So let's talk about it. Do the Green Bay Packers have four wide receiver ones? I've heard this a lot, and I keep thinking about it and going, yeah, we've got a good receiving core. In fact, there was I can't remember who was it, that was it PFF? Was it somebody just brought out the best wide receiver cores in the NFL? And I think we were like 13th or 15th or something like that. I'm like, wow, we just do not get any respect in Green Bay regarding our young wide receiver core. And in fact, every single description of every single team that was described all talked about their wide receivers and included their tight ends and their running back, pass catching running backs as well. You had San Francisco at number one, Miami at number two. I could see them definitely being high up there. Detroit was high up there. But you know what's interesting is that the only place that really in the top 15 that talked about a quarterback was the Green Bay Packers description. And it's like they still don't believe in Jordan Love. They just still can't believe that we found a franchise quarterback who's a potential Pro Bowler every year. Like, he should have been in the Pro Bowl this year. So there's a lot of disrespect that happens towards the Green Bay Packers, especially with this young receiving core. And so when we see that and we're like, we kind of push back and say, hey, we're relevant too, but does it really matter if everybody else doesn't believe in us? Who cares? Because what happens on the field is the most important piece. And so you can get into all these arguments online with other teams and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, everyone, it's not always that way, because we're even now arguing with each other as Packer fans. And this is where I'm going. So I have friends that believe that Green Bay Packers have 4 wide receiver number ones. And then I've seen other people say that they have 4 number ones as well that are just Packer fans. And my answer to this is that the Green Bay Packers do not have 4 number 1 wide receivers. We don't have 5. We don't have 6. We don't have 4 wide receiver number ones. Okay. It's just, it's to the place where it's almost getting embarrassing because of these kind of comments that are being happening. And in my opinion, it's making us look bad because it's a major homer take. We don't have 4 wide receiver ones. Okay. We do not. I'm sorry. You're like, oh, if they were on any other team, they'd be wide receivers 2 at best, maybe wide receiver 3s. And there's nothing wrong with that, everyone. There's nothing wrong with us having 4 number 2 wide receivers, or 2 number 2 wide receivers and 2 number 3 wide receivers. There's nothing wrong with that. Who cares? Just pass the ball to the guy who's open, right? Just pass the ball to the guy who's open, because that's all that matters. And I think it's just really strange how Packers fans want to get into arguments about this, because it does not matter. Just pass to the guy who's open. You're saying, how did Dontavian Wicks get so open? That's a great question. And so why is Dontavian Wicks so wide open? One, it is coaching. It is scheme. It is number 3, talent of the player, route running of the player, the play they ran. Number 5, number 6 might even be the most important one, who he lines up against. He's not lining up against the cornerback ones on the other team. He might be lining up against a linebacker or a cornerback 3, and he's just too talented to be stopped. And that is what happens. Why is it that way? And I'm just like, so it's kind of a pointless argument, in my opinion, because it's like, yes, we do. No, we don't. Yes, we do. No, we don't. But let's talk about a few things why I believe that we don't. And I really don't think it matters. Lots of people are going to be like, yes, we have 4 number 1 wide receivers. We're the greatest wide receiver core in the NFL. And we're not, guys. We're not. Not yet. Do we have potential? Yes. Can we be the number 1 wide receiver core in the NFL? Yes, if we keep progressing. These guys are young. They're hungry. They're incredible. And so let's dive into the stats, everyone, because in my opinion, the stats don't lie. The stats don't lie. Now, let's dive into this. I want to show you. Oh, I got to bring that down first before I want to show you this graphic, okay? Oh, shoot. I got to bring that up. I forgot to do one thing. I got to re-download that. Okay. So as we're talking here, okay, let's dive into what we call the eyeball test. Okay. The eyeball test, everyone. Let's talk about that, because that is really important. What people say is like, oh, you don't know ball. You don't know ball. It's like, okay, that sounds good. You know what I mean? It sounds good. So it's like, why, you're so smart, I'm so stupid. We're gonna dive into the eyeball test. Listen, it doesn't take a NFL coach, a college coach, a high school coach. It doesn't take a former player or a person who played in college to see on the field the eyeball test. You can see when guys are difference makers and when guys are not. Okay, so we need to understand that it is very, very important. It is very, very important. Okay. So I believe that it's just watch the games. And so that's how it works. Okay. I'm getting the stats up here ASAP. I do apologize for this little mix up here. I thought I had it all ready to go, but obviously did not. So I am going to bring it up right now. But the eyeball test doesn't matter. The eyeball test matters. Okay. For example, let's use a few years ago when Mike McCarthy was our head coach of our incredible Green Bay Packers. And when you watched Aaron Jones, you were like, this guy is dynamic and electric. And why is he not on the field? In fact, so much so that there was a hashtag and people are saying free Aaron Jones. We all could see it. There's NFL coaches sitting there not playing our best players. So just because someone is the NFL, in the NFL at the coaching level, just because you played in the NFL before, doesn't mean that the fans are stupid. We can clearly see that Aaron Jones was our best running back, and you needed to run him as our number one. Once McCarthy was gone and Matt LaFleur came, man, Aaron Jones cooked. He was so good. Now we've let him go, and we got Josh Jacobs now. But I think the eyeball test matters. So let's go back to the stats don't lie, and let me show you this graphic, everyone. Okay, let's just look at the stats. Okay, now I know that Jordan Love throws the ball around, gets it around. Okay, he spreads the ball around. Okay, but look at the age of our wide receivers. Okay, Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs, both 24, only 24. Dontavian Wicks is only 23, and Christian Watson's only 25. Listen, I'm a huge Christian Watson fan, huge. But look at so Jaden Reed almost played full season. Romeo Doubs did. Dontavian Wicks was 2 games less than a full season, and then Christian Watson, who can't seem to stay healthy for some reason, even though I love watching him play. He only played 9 games last year. And so here we go. Here's the targets. Now, I want to show you some of these top 2 targets. When you're talking about wide receiver 1, everyone, that's what your receptions are supposed to be. 94, 96, 100. 100 receptions. So look at the stats. The stats don't lie. 64 receptions, 58 receptions. Okay. Like, I'm sorry. These are not wide receiver 1 numbers. That's all that matters. Now, the receptions are fine. Oh, I forgot to put the passing yards in, everyone. I'm failing tonight. Okay, so I'll just tell you. So Jaden Reed had 793 receiving yards. Okay. Romeo Doubs had 674 passing yards. Dontavian Wicks, 581 passing yards. Christian Watson, 422. Those are not wide receiver 1 numbers, everyone. But 8 touchdowns is good. 8 touchdowns, that's great. Jaden Reed had 10 total. That's in wide receiver 1. If we want to say from last season who was a wide receiver 1 on the Green Bay Packers, it was Jaden Reed, and that's it. Because you know what I mean? Because he had 119 rushing yards. He also had 793 receiving yards, and there we are, right? And Doubs only had 674 passing yards. He had 0 rushing yards, everyone. So if you want to make the case that we have a wide receiver 1, sure, Jaden Reed is it. Now, so, that's something to just look at, okay? Just let's look at that real quick. But so the stats don't lie, everyone. And again, let me remind you, like, it's making us Green Bay Packers fans look bad because it's a major homer take. So we have 4. No, we don't. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong because wide receiver 1s only matter in fantasy football. That's all it matters in. That's it. So when I look at the Green Bay Packers and I think of wide receivers 1s, I think of Donald Driver, I think of Jordy Nelson, I think of Devontae Adams, baby, Devontae Adams, because when you watch those guys, you're like, that's a wide receiver number one. But there's nothing wrong with having 2 wide receiver 2s and 2 wide receiver 3s, or 4 wide receiver 2s, whatever, or 3 wide receiver 2s and 1 wide receiver 3s, or 1 wide receiver 2 and 3 wide receiver 3s. There's nothing wrong with that. Then you add in Musgrave and Kraft, and you add in what Jacobs can do in the passing game. Like, this team is dangerous. So at the end of the day, that's all that matters. This team's dangerous. We're going to win games. We're going to be competitive. We're going to put our best foot forward. It doesn't matter what the people are coming in and saying, oh, sorry, Green Bay isn't in the top, whatever. Okay. Who cares what someone's list was? All that matters is the Packers are going to be in games and winning games. And I believe we're making the playoffs again. I believe we have a legitimate shot of winning the division, hosting a home game in the playoffs. And then, of course, we're going to make noise. That's all that matters. So wide receiver ones only matter in fantasy football. So let's talk about fantasy football for a second. Post in the comments, whether you're live or later, which Green Bay Packers wide receiver are you drafting first in your fantasy draft, and in what round? Because if you go into fantasy drafts right now or mock drafts, you'd be shocked on how low these guys are going. And it's because of the stats that I showed you, that the stats don't lie, everyone. They don't lie. We had one wide receiver 1 last year. Now, can we have more? Yes. Let's see. Let's see what happens. But even the Jaden Reed numbers is like borderline top end wide receiver number 2. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it, because who cares? Let's just pass it to the guy who is open. Pass it to the guy who's going to catch it. Pass it to the guy who's going to score the touchdown or get the reception or get the first down, because that's all that matters. Okay, I'm going to dive into some comments here. Yeah, it's just wild for me. And some of these people are my friends. Other people are just people that I've connected on Twitter or different online platforms. I'm not trying to call anyone down. I'm just saying I'm just agreeing to disagree with your homer take or your perceived that you know more than other people, especially those former NFL players. Or I'll just stop there before I get in trouble. Yeah. So what do I think the total passing yards are going to be this season? That's a great question. And let me just, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they're similar to what we had last year. Okay. I don't think, especially with Jordan Love, I still think he's either going to improve or he's going to stay the same. I don't think he's going to regress. I just had this feeling that he's going to stay similar numbers wise. And so I want to just see how many passing yards. No, we have something is going on here. I'm missing. So I could go to offense. Let's see if I can find that. Yeah, I just think it's whatever he had last year. Was it 4,100? I think that's what he had. Let me just quickly look. Good question though. Really good question. I think it was 4,100. Yeah, 4,159. So he's going to be in that range. And then you start dividing it between the running backs, the wide receivers, and the tight ends. And then we'll see what happens. So, but yeah, this is a young wide receiver core. Definitely young, personalized. You're right. Young and not inexperienced. Man, it's going to be fun to watch. You're right. So I like what you're saying here. You'd say 1 for sure, maybe 2. Yeah, I would say that's a stretch, but that's okay. You're allowed to say that. I would just say 1. Turier could be a thought, but not after last season, not being productive. I mean, Bo Melton was better than him last year, right? So, and then who else was there? There was another wide receiver, Bo Melton, and yeah, I mean, Turier wasn't even on the list for being effective. So, but I'm with you, man. I love watching Watson. I love watching Wicks. I can't believe we got Wicks in the 5th round. But coach has to create plays for the wide receivers. Not yet, like you said here, man. Not where the quarterback only goes to their main wide receiver or two main wide receivers. I know. We are dangerous, my friend. We are dangerous. And another one, Green Bay has a group of young wide receivers, a lot of rookies with so much potential. Well, they're no longer, they're sophomores now, and they're third-year players, so they're juniors, right? Hey, Andy, good to see you. Welcome. Yeah, I know. As a Bears fan, I know that you're a hater, but I actually think you're being realistic here, and you're not just hating, because they're not. We do not have 4 wide receiver ones, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I know. This is the kind of Packer content we need, but it doesn't get as many clicks, bro. I'm just saying. I would rather just speak the truth and be realistic, even though I'm passionate, and just say, hey, it just is what it is, but it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. In fact, if you look at the Bears, you have 2 guys on that team right now. You have DJ Moore. He is a legitimate number 1. Keenan Allen has been a number 1. And Roman Duzay was the number 1 in college for his team, right? I believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. So they have the potential of having number 1s, but whether they do it or not, whether Caleb Williams gets the hand in their ball, the ball in their hands. Sorry, that was awkward. Sorry, that was a bit of a slip there. So I think this is just really important to think about, everyone. But yeah, so there we're at. Davante Adams was a superstar. I still think he's top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. Just does not have a great quarterback playing with him right now, but he's amazing. And then yes, personalized. I'm there. Like the division is very possible. I mean, the Detroit Lions are very good. That's the other thing. Detroit Lions are high on that ranking list. Who do they have? St. Brown, JMO. It should not be on that list. Yeah, they've got Laporta. I get it. He's one of the best tight ends after his rookie season. Insane. And then you have Gibbs, who's coming out of the backfield. Okay, get it, legitimate. But they don't have a 2 and a 3. That's really good. Just saying, everyone. Let's just be honest. If we're going to be honest about the Packers, the Detroit Lions have a number 1, and then they have maybe a couple number 3s or a 4. I don't know. But then they have an incredible tight end, and they have an incredible running back. And so it is what it is. And so Detroit's going to be there, and that's the one that we're going to be battling with for the division. And I do believe that not only do we have a great defense, but so do they. And if you're drafting, I already have my eyes on Reed and maybe a 3rd round pick. You can get Reed, I believe, in round 4, 5, or 6. You should do some mock drafts. Okay. Anyways, I got to go stream for my other channel. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for being here. If you're late to the party and you're here later, please not only hit the like and subscribe, but leave a comment. I'd really appreciate it. And it's okay if we do not agree, everyone. I have no problem. But I do not believe we have 4 wide receiver 1s in Green Bay. But like I said, it doesn't matter. I hope that you have a fantastic day. And of course, always, we're going to cheer our team on. Go Pack, go.